Insurance isn't one size fits all. That's why customers have enjoyed Progressive's Name Your Price tool for years now. With the Name Your Price tool, you tell them what you want to pay, and they'll show you options that fit your budget. So whether you're picking out your first policy or just looking for something that works better for you and your family, they make it easy to see your options. Visit progressive.com. Find a rate that works for you with the Name Your Price tool. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
Google is one of the search engines that you should be on, and most importantly, be there for a long time. But at the same time, you have to create content that's going to allow your brand to be seen by Google, for example. So these are the very major things that we need to consider as business owners to know where are we showing up online, who are we showing up for, and if we're showing up consistently, how are we able to do that without fail? So the question of the day is, do you have a brand? And if you do, the second part of the question is, does Google know about your brand? Does Google know your brand? And there are ways you can tell, because easily, I'll even give you this right off the bat. The first thing you want to do is to create a website that can be seen and that can also be heard, can be remembered, can also be typed, right? And you want your content to also be seen and connected back to the source. So if you're creating content, you're not just creating content because you have information, it's because you have value that you want to exchange. Welcome, Robin. Welcome, David. David, thank you for being here as well. This is a very important discussion that I wanted us to have today, just because there's so many things that we know about, but we also don't know if Google knows about us, or if Google even trusts us with information to begin with. And I felt like it would be good for us to talk about this today, but also do it in a way that will be really quick, and then, hear from you too, whether you're able to add this to your question, your bucket list, but also more importantly, how can you turn this around for the better? So the question of the day is, do you have a brand? And the reason why this question is very important is because when you have a brand, you have a name. When you have a name, you technically have a domain, and your domain would be your website URL. We've talked about uniform resource locators before in the previous episode. And when I mentioned this on the We Don't Play podcast show, I specifically mentioned about having your URL as your destination key, because that's how people are able to find you. Like, for example, with you, David, you have dovid.com. So that's DOVID.com. That is your brand. That is what people would know you for. Now I think it's DNF or DNFund.com. That's what I'm seeing on your website, on your profile. So when I'm seeing that, for me, I don't know which one is which. But if you've connected the right one to Google, then Google is able to now know where that comes from. So I'll just give you an example for you, David. So I'm going to go to Google right now, and I'm going to type in site, SITE, and then I'm going to do DOVID.com. Let me see. So now when I look at this, I don't know if the website is active or if it's available. We'd love to hear from you. But when I just did that on Google, I dissolved. It literally is giving me somebody who is literally trying to fish for water or fish for a fish in a pond. So that's what I'm getting, and that usually happens when Google does not know your brand. So we'd love to hear from you, David. Good morning.
Sincere, I was going through my WhatsApp messages, and I don't know what I may have touched, but usually it doesn't happen. It opened up this Clubhouse room, and I said, who the hell is talking? And then I realized when my phone was updating, I just turned it on this morning. And I probably touched and opened your room. So when I started to listen to you, I had a question. Is this a pre-recorded message? Because there are many rooms that the moderator comes in, but he puts a recording for an hour, and then at the end he shows up and says, "Is there any question?" And then you start talking and looking at my profile. So I say, "Wow, this is great. At least this is not recorded. You are live." So David is my name, and many years ago I was extremely lucky to get this domain. I am in a whole different business in regards to my day-to-day. I sell equipment to utilities, to electric companies in a number of countries. So I use David really as a private email and as the profile here on House, and I use it for a few other things. No, I don't have a live website on that domain. And DN Fund is up. We manage a private domain fund. We own almost 5,000 domains. Even that I bought my first domain in the year 2000 for my business. I came to the domain business in 2010. And I have been very active in the domain industry. I have been to most of the trade shows, NamesCon. My first one was Domain Traffic, which happened at Fort Lauderdale, 2010, 11, and 12. And I know everything about what you're talking about. Not everything in a way of not being humble. What I mean is, if you really want to be out there in the world and be recognized and have a working business, you must have your brand. And if you have a high quality premium domain, even better. So aside of my regular business, we manage almost 5,000 domains, high quality domains, top domains. I have sold many domains for 6 figures, 5 figures. We don't sell domains under $5,000. We don't carry domains that would sell below $5,000. And I'm willing to be here in your room and listen to you. Great
Thank
to be
you.
here with you, and I'm going to start following you. It's my first time I hear you, but I'm very interested, and good luck. Thanks for doing what you do.
Thanks for being here. You mentioned that you send emails with dovid.com.
Yes, but that's a private. When I am somewhere and I want somebody to be in contact with me, so I tell him, send me an email with your contacts at dovid.com, and that's very easy to remember. If I would have to say David Roth 719 at whatever, people forget about it. So I'll tell you what happened. There was a rabbi who registered David.com. David, in the way with an O, is a pronunciation of David in Hebrew. And there are many Davids around the world. So this rabbi started in 1991 or 92, and he was very active in internet. And he had David.com. Very sadly, many years later, he was going to Chicago to a huge convention, and it was snowing, and another car hit him in the road, and there was an accident, and he passed away. I believe he had his domain renewed for another 3 years when he passed away. So his domain was in his account for another 3 years. After 3 years that the domain was not renewed, and probably his wife didn't have the access to the domain, or there was no interest on keeping the domain. So the domain dropped and it went to auction. And I was able to buy it on that auction. So that's how I have it. Because you wouldn't be able to have a domain like that other than if you bought it, because those domains, single word names, were registered before 2000, many after 2000 right there. But single names are very, very valuable. They can go for hundreds of thousands or even almost $1 million or more, because single names can be a fantastic brand for clothing, fashion, or any other things. So it was great for me. It was unbelievable to be able to buy Doveit.com. I have had a few offers to buy it, but I haven't sold it.
Thank you for that feedback. You know, the reason why I was asking the question, especially on the emails, is to also know if you send out emails or receive emails, sometimes it can go to the spam, sometimes it might go to places on the inbox or within the inbox that may not be the best or the safest. So when I did a search using nslookup.io, and it's a free option that you can always check out and see what it looks like, I checked your domain health and I see you have a 3 out of 10 because the risk assessment level is high, because I don't see any DKIM, which stands for Domain Keys Identified Mail, and DMARC, which stands for Domain Based Message Authentication, Reporting, and Conformance. And your SPF, which is your Sender Policy Framework, is green, the DMARC is red, and the DKIM is null or void, or it's non-existent. So why I asked was because of that reason, to make sure that you also are aware if you're not.
What was the website you checked this on?
nslookup.io. I'll put it in the chat.
Well, thank you very much, my friend. What do you do? What do you do actually as your work? Are you involved in SEO and websites, or what do you do?
Great question. Thank you. So I run an agency, a media and also able to be visible through the search engines across both traditional and AI, artificial intelligence engines. So things to do with chatbots, ChatGPT, Perplexity, CloudBot or Cloud Code, all the way through Microsoft and Google. The goal is to build out your website. We either build your website, we audit it or scale it, and then we identify problems that technically would be needed to solve the site's portfolio and also your domain authority, so that you can also grow across the web. And we usually use podcasts, Pinterest, or any other form to also enhance your website. So basically is to make sure that you have a website that is strong, that is authenticated, and also that is scalable.
Right. And your website is playinc.online, correct? Well, you can bring up to the room, let me see if he's still here. He's very knowledgeable. He is in the domain industry group. He's a friend of mine. And you have him here listening downstairs. If he can come up, Danny Monson. He's a great person, very knowledgeable, and a good friend of mine.
Danny is
Also
great.
in the domain industry and development also.
Danny too before. Great guy. What's up, Danny? How are you, man? Welcome. And ST.
Hello, how's it going,
How are you?
everybody? Favor, how's it going? Can you hear me? Oh, doing well, thank you. Thanks for having this room. Every time that that I can catch your sessions, I'll hang out here and listen. Hello, David.
Hi, my friend. How are you? Nice to hear you.
Nice to hear your voice too. It's been a while.
Did it actually for 10 days, 2 weeks ago. I only was going to WhatsApp with my kid and a few people that I need to, but I was listening to somebody and he said, you're going to feel the difference. And I detox from news, from websites, only my basic stuff that I needed to do. Everything else, I stopped for exactly 11 days. You have no idea how I was feeling. I'm still coming out of that from a week and a half ago. My wife was in Miami visiting her mother, and I used that time to try to do that. And I think I will be doing it 2-3 times a year, detoxing from electronics for 10 days. Your mind, it's more sharp, more clear. It was really unbelievable. I never thought that would really be like that. So I hadn't been going into Clubhouse for some time, and it was really, really good. Anyone who wants to try it, it's unbelievable.
I did that when my phone broke, and I just didn't have a phone for like 3 days. And I felt useless. I felt like I needed to do something. Everywhere that I went, I would look for my phone, like subconsciously, and then remind myself that I don't have a phone, a working phone. It's
You can
yeah.
see by feeling what you were feeling, how taken over our life is by our freaking phone. That's the biggest challenge in this generation, because people can turn on and monitor their phone and see how many hours a day they are watching their phone, and it's mind-boggling. It is beyond imagination that we can't leave those freaking phones. And I have seen people that have alarm. They don't have their phone in vibration, and even that they are not getting any alarm or any message or anything. They just keep taking the phone and looking to see if somebody wrote to them when nobody has written to them. So, and I'll finish with this. Like 6-7 years ago, we went into a restaurant, and we came in, and there was a couple in a table close next to us. And since we arrived, we saw them that each one was on their phone, and they ordered the food came, and they still were on their phone while they were eating, and they were there like for 35-40 minutes. Then they left. We never heard them speak to each other, not even a single word. When they finished eating, seems both of them knew that they didn't want dessert. The man asked for the bill. He paid. And after he paid, he said, let's go. And they left. They never spoke to each other. So I have no idea why they went out to dinner, but maybe that's their way of life. And they're probably divorced without knowing it. But these freaking phones are draining people's lives.
It's a big deal. It's definitely a big deal. Thank you so much, David and Danny, for being here. Nick says, or they are probably happy and still married. I mean, that's not my place, so I don't know. But
I'm going to interrupt you. Yes, they are married, but they're first married to their phone and then married to themselves. But the main marriage is with their phones.
worse. I don't know if Nick was thinking the same thing too. And Jasmine is laughing. So yeah, you just never know. This phone thing, it can be a lot. And I mean, we're on Clubhouse. You can use your app. You can use your web desktop. But at the end of the day, when we think about our phones and what we use and where we use them, most times it's on the internet, right? When you have Wi-Fi connected or your mobile network connected, that's where you get to see the most feedback. And we're talking about branding and Google knowing about your brand. And most times we say or we think that Google does when Google doesn't, or has no clue of what you do because of those things. And how I want you to also check this out, because I don't want to just talk about this room and leave it as is. There is a website called learning.google.com. And if you just Google something and you say Google Learn About, you will find it. I'll give you guys a link in the chat and I'll also say it out loud. That is learning.google.com/experiments/learn-about/sign up. When you sign up and you connect to this website, right? And it's an experiment because right now it's still in the labs. What you can do here is when you click on this and you sign up, ask Google to tell you about your brand. Say, tell me about this business. Tell me about the name of this business. Tell me about the name of this person. And it will tell you exactly what it has in its database. And if you realize that you're not getting anything concrete or anything that is solidified or even robust, then that means you may have light information or very thin content on your website or even across the web pages within your domain. So one thing to also look out for, if you don't want to use this experiment, another experiment you can use, thank you, Jasmine, is you go to Google, and then in Google, where the search bar is, the search box, you now type in their site, SITE, full colon, not a semicolon, a full colon, and then with no spaces, put your domain and then hit enter. If you don't see anything on the results pages, that's also another way of telling you that Google does not know about your brand. If Google knows about your brand, then you should see pages on your site. You see your homepage, your about page, your product page, your blogs, your contacts, your privacy policy, whatever policy pages you have, they should be showing up on Google because they are indexed to Google. Now, if they're indexed to Google, then you also want to check if you're indexed to Microsoft, right? These are free tools everybody can use. That's why Google made it free. But the thing about being free is that the problem now gets in when you start realizing you start getting pages that are not indexed, or you start losing traffic, or you start having content decay, or your robots are not firing correctly, or you don't have the right associations, or your sitemaps might be configured incorrectly. Those are where the things can start to come up. But these two ways to know if Google knows about your brand or does Google know your brand at all is by using the learn about or using the traditional way of going to site domain.com or example.com to get your results. David or Danny, have you tried that before or heard that before?
Yeah, I have heard it, but I'll tell you how you get very high in Google's environment. When a company puts their website and they are active selling products, and they start paying Google for traffic, the world changes because now they're getting money from you, and now they go in and they take care about a lot of things for you to show up because they want to keep you not only connected, but they want you to grow and give them more money. Now, I'm not saying that you go to Google and you pay them $50 and things are going to change. But if you're an active business that is growing and you're using Google products, then things change. For example, I use many Gmails. But for example, the domain that we use for all the domains is a Google business services, a Google business email, sorry. So I realized that when we email people who inquire in our domains using that domain, using that email, none of those emails go to spam because Google knows who you are. You're paying them every month for that email. And I may have a Gmail, which is free already for 20 years. And sometimes, depending on who we are emailing them, that goes to spam or whatever. Most of them don't. But if you use a paid email business email with them, then many of the things are green lighted. The other thing that I wanted to tell you was, yes, that right now on the Google search bar, because everything is using AI, when I get inquiries on domains, I have a prompt which I ask which of the companies worldwide would be able to use this domain or have a brand with this keyword or similar. You have no idea what happens. First of all, because when I do the inquiry, I don't want him to give me the companies in Panama where I live or the US. I'm getting inquiries on domains all over the world. So right away, it gives me 5, 8, 10, 20 companies who use those keywords or would benefit from this domain. And that's the great benefit. When you're going to buy a domain for resale, you want to know that you have more than 1 or 2 future customers. You don't want to buy a domain that you can just sell to one company. Obviously, you have to check if there are trademarks and many other things. But the AI bar right now, when you give them a couple of prompts, it goes everywhere and gives you all the information that you may need. And also, you can ask them questions in regards to the domain or an email. How is it standing out there? And the AI will give you tremendous answers with a lot of depthness. So just wanted to tell you that.
Thank you, David. Yeah, there's a lot of things to configure online, especially when you look at your content and you see where it's stemming from. Because even if you're being cited on an AI source or you're being mentioned within an AI filter, it's coming from a source itself, and that source has a resource. So when you now look at it from the perspective of your website being the cornerstone of your information, then that's where you want to invest a lot of information about your business, about yourself. So when you're now connected to these platforms or you're sending emails, you're not being looked at as spam or someone that is fake or someone that's not branded well. Because like you mentioned, even Nick said it too with Workspace, Google Workspace, you can connect your account to Workspace and all these things, but if you start sending out emails and you've not made some compliance procedures to make sure that your website and your content is in alignment, that's where your DNS comes to play. You know how all of us, all human beings, we all have a DNA, right? I always say that every website or every domain has a DNS, like a DNA. That DNS is your domain name system or your domain name server. When those servers are malfunctioning or when there's a problem, it's going to affect your site. Let's say your name server is pointing in the wrong direction or you don't have the right mail exchange records, the MX records. Those things can hurt your site. When you connect your website to Google Search Console, you connect it through a CNAME, which is a canonical name, or a TXT, right? Or a text file. So those are things that if you don't connect your site, it's going to be hard for you to also scale, because when Google is looking for information about you, it's looking through those source files first. So it's so important to look into those things as well. So thank you, David, for that. Bridget, thanks for being here. Happy Friday. We can't hear you. Or was it just me?
Me. Can you hear me? I have these horrible AirPods on. They're horrible. But happy Friday.
It's so unrelated to this, but it kind of is with branding. When you talked about AirPods, the wired headphones or the wired earphones are coming back to the market even more than the AirPods, because people are starting to use the AirPods less and use wired headphones more. I use wired headphones. I don't know, God knows how many times I've lost my AirPods, so I don't even use them. And on top of that, it's not good for your brain, or for, people use it as fashion, putting one on their ear and walking around with no music on. And they're hurting their brain cells, they're hurting their ears. And it's damaging, because when you look at the electromagnetic waves that are going through that, it's way higher than what you have with the wired headphones. So I know exactly what you mean, Bridget, when you're not getting those signals, because it could either be the AirPods are not receiving the right strength, but it's also losing strength because you always have to keep recharging it. So I'm glad that you mentioned the AirPods today. Wanted to ask you about branding and Google, if you have ever gotten to see what Google knows about your business or your brand in general, showing you lately.
Yes, so I had the opportunity to work in New York City. My daytime job, I was working at a marketing firm doing competitive research for financial brands. And my nighttime job, I was a club promoter. So the combination of those two jobs led me to almost, I wouldn't say without knowing, I definitely knew what I was doing, but I didn't know that I was developing my personal brand. Later on, I established a business and I had a business, but people knew me by my name instead of by my business name, DM Digital. So I kind of just went with that. I was not a very dedicated SEO driven person. Although I knew the value of it, I steered more into the automation sub niche, which was back in 2018 when we were automating chat on Messenger. So that led me to eventually up to today. I never worried too much about Google because my clients didn't come from the internet. For the most part, they came from referrals and past clients. I never spent an ad I never spent a dime in advertising. Well, this year I'll do that. But today I'm driven more about the opportunity that AI models are familiar with my work and that people need to know about me. They can just ask any AI model, or at least the most popular ones, and they'll find out about my trajectory. So this is something that I probably look to implement this year, as I after my divorce, I definitely had to establish a different brand. So might as well do it right. If you want, I'll summarize it. But
Yeah.
yeah. So I haven't been very in tune with SEO, and that's because of the way clients up to this day found me or find me, and that is through referrals and basically through circles that where I live, work, and play, basically. So this year, I'm looking to establish a different brand, and this is why I'm here, because this topic is fundamentals, right? So that's the summary.
Thank you, Danny. Yeah, definitely SEO is highly underrated, but overly a great place to invest your time, money, and energy for long-term benefit, especially if you're looking for local business, regional, national, or even international. You know, some websites even go to the extent of creating pages with other languages, right? If you have English, Spanish, Portuguese, French, German, those are things that you can also do, but it's not necessary. But if you want to have that international appeal, you can. And when you have a brand, your brand is basically what Google is going to understand you for based on what you've set up in the beginning. So if people are going to be finding you online, it's based on how you're able to put that through. And how you're going to know is also putting that in your forms as well. We have a client, they deal with massage in New York, and they have a massage spa, and they focus heavily on like lymphatic drainage, prenatal, things, TMJ, a lot of different types of massage routines. It's not just hot stone and deep tissue, but they even go to the extent of actually treating and helping you to recover from pain or recover from any type of thing. So when I had a meeting earlier this week with a client, I was looking at the forms that they were getting, because before they weren't usually getting a lot of forms and responses or getting signups. This is before we started. So we looked at their account. They have about 300 plus forms that were filled. And out of those 300 forms, anywhere between 30 to 70% of those forms, there's a section where I told him to put, how did you find us? And usually you can see family, you can see friends, you can see TikTok, you can see email, and then you see Google search. So when we started seeing a lot of Google search, I said, aha, this is good. So clients are finding them organically within their locality, within their zip code, within their radius for certain terms. And that's how they are found online within Google. So people say, oh, we can't find businesses on Google. Even David, when you mentioned that people run ads on Google, I always tell people, please, for the love of God, do not run ads if you have not established a relationship with Google organically. Why am I saying this? Because if you're running ads to a location or to a destination link that's available on a website, and that same website is not configured or even authenticated or validated by Google, then your cost will be much higher than the cost of somebody who has been living on the internet for years or even for weeks. Because that information that you're trying to get, that same attention, someone is getting that for free. So if you're spending $3 per click and they're earning $3 per click, you get $3, they get $6 because they saved $3. So it's better for you to save money and build your ecosystem online before you start thinking about ads or running ads, because we've seen it countless times and times over again that when you do those things, it doesn't make your business grow. It makes your business seen, but seen for the amount of time that you campaign. Why am I also saying this? Because when you run ads, there's something called a learning phase, and it happens everywhere. Meta ads, LinkedIn ads, Pinterest ads, Google ads, YouTube ads. There's something called a learning phase. And some learning phases take up to 7 days, some take up to 14 days, some take up to 28 days, some may go extensively, depending on what you're researching on. So imagine if you're spending, let's say, $50 a day times 30, right? You're spending what, close to about, is that, let's say, give or take, if you're really looking at it based on the number of days that you're running it, you're looking at somewhere around 1500, right? And now let's say you've run that ad for 30 days. And let's say you split that and you say, okay, for the first 50 days or for the first 14 days, you've spent $700 on purely learning, not conversions, maybe data, but just learning. Now you have another $700 to spend, right? Plus some, to now get what you were investing or budgeting at 1500, when you could have paid 1500 or invested 1500 into SEO, where you can actually build out your content map, build out your technical setup. So when you have time to spend money again on that 1500, maybe a week or a month or a year from now, your cost will be less. Because if your cost per click would be $10 per click, or cost per click, that could actually end up being $1, right? If it's $2, it could be 30 cents, right? So the goal is not to just spend money, because yeah, Google can know your brand because you're spending money with Google. Why would Google not give you attention if you're giving Google attention? The problem is when you give Google attention and Google is not giving you retention. That's the problem. Because Google will always give you attention. Google will always run your ads, always make sure you're at the top of the search. But the day that you stop running those ads and the day you realize that you're not on Google, or Google has no idea of who you are, it's like a one night stand. You don't want that with Google. You want to have that long-term relationship, because every link that you put on Google is going to account to about 24 months. That's why when you go to Google today, You can find results that are showing up from 2024, from 2014, from 2025, from 2013, because those articles have been placed on a server that is still actively respondent to queries that are being searched on the internet on a daily basis. So I like to emphasize these things so that people don't just think you don't want to run ads. Yeah, you want to run ads, but run ads when you're aware of things. You don't enter marriage if you've not gone through dating, if you're not going through relationships, if you've not gone through understanding each other. So Google understands you because you're paying for that service, but Google has no clue of who you are because you've not given Google any DNS, which is your DNA, which is your website, which is your domain. So these are things that are very important to consider when you're thinking about these things too. So just wanted to highlight that. What's up, Elon, Zella, Stefan, Roy, Dr. O? Thank you for being here. Darren, Vakshik, Big G, Elaine, No Carbs, Nick, and Jasmine, and also Rocky stepped in the room. You said you're on lunch, so you can talk. We'd love to hear from you, Rocky. Welcome.
Hey, I don't know what y'all are talking about. Sorry, I was just trying to catch up and tune in. But I'm here in support.
Thank you, Rocky. Before you go back, I wanted to hear from you when you think about branding and Google knowing about your brand. What have you experienced in the recent times, especially in your industry of expertise?
As far as getting the attention or the type of content, what pertaining to what
The awareness.
specifically? Well, I will say for me, the biggest lesson I've had is make sure that you're relevant in your niche, and you helped me to do that when you helped me with the Google search content, Google Search Console, and the and my titles and all that other kind of stuff. A lot of us, it surprises me, Favor, the amount of people that don't know that you need to be on Google or found by Google, and they think that if they just put out enough content, that they will be able to be seen on Google. That's fine. Hold on, I'm at the drive-thru. Hopefully you caught that. Did you catch that?
I did.
Okay, I'm sorry. There's a lot going on.
Thank you for that feedback. Yeah, people say that content, yeah, I always say this, content is king and context is queen, right? So when you have content and context and they match, then you're able to have a better understanding. And sometimes it may rub feathers, you might have a little of some friction here and there, but eventually gets smoother. So your goal as a business, as a brand, is to ensure that your domain that you pay for every year, every 3 years, every 5 years is seen on Google. We've worked with companies that have been established 50 years ago, 75 years ago. We see that every time. And looking at companies and seeing how they're showing up online, it's different. Just imagine if you had a 50-year credit card history or credit report history. That's way better than somebody who has been there for 50 seconds, right? Because you have leverage, you have equity. So as a business, your goal is to have
Okay,
the
I'm
same
back. I
thing
can finish
too.
my thought.
Yeah, let's go. Let's
I'm
go.
sorry. I'm at a limited time. So, no, what I was saying is it amazes me the amount of people that think that they could just push out content without doing the things they need to do to be found by Google. When I first started, I just knew to name myself the same brand name all over the place, but I didn't know about Google Search Console. I didn't know about SEO. I didn't know about those things. I think it's important to know how to get yourself found on Google. I also think it's important for you to have some kind of brand consistency. Cough, cough, all those people that change their businesses every 2 or 3 years. But the brand consistency matters. All of that stuff matters because people need to know how to find you and follow up with you. So that's how I'll close out. Back to you.
I love that, Rocky. Thank you. Yeah, especially when you look at feedback forms, content buildings, people just write content and say, oh, I got a blog. And then when I look at the blog, I'm like, okay. Because I'm looking at things that I should be finding, but I'm not finding the things that I should be, attributing to a blog, because a blog is not just text. It's not just links. It's structure. You don't build a house with just a brick and with wood. You build a house with a blueprint, with a housing plan, with a feature, with metrics, with measurements. Those things are exactly what's going to help your business grow. So when I look at your brand and your brand is not online, then if you're not on Google, then I 100% I'm sure that you're probably not on any other platform, because Google is where everything starts from. Yes, people are searching on ChatGPT, Perplexity, Cloud, Manus, all these great places, but guess where they're getting their information from? It's coming from Google. It's coming from a source. That's why when you even download ChatGPT Atlas, which is a browser, or you download Perplexity Comet, which is an AI browser, and you look at their search results, whenever you're searching for something, you will always find results coming from YouTube. You'll find results coming from LinkedIn. LinkedIn is owned by Microsoft. YouTube is owned by Google. So if you're trying to cut corners to get to the finish line, at some point it will cost you more down the road because you're not looking at playing fair. You're looking at kind of like trying to game the system. So most people will just post content on social or post content on their website saying, oh, we have content, but that content is nowhere to be seen, nowhere to be found, nowhere to be heard. And you're just pretty much at this point sounding like this to the engines. We don't want that. We want you to be visible. We want you to be credible. And we want you guys to be brand worthy, trustworthy, right? There's a Google acronym that stands for EEAT, right? If you've never heard of it, it's a Google Code of Conduct. It means experience, expertise, authority, and trust. For you to be trusted, you need to have experience. When your grandmother, your grandfather is telling you stories, when your father, your mother is telling you stories, it's out of experience. That's why you trust them, because they've gone through things you haven't gone through yet. So you take that same information and use that same yardstick and ask yourself, what does Google know about me? What can I tell people about what I've been telling them over the years for the last 24 months that they know that, okay, Favor talks about this, it's consistent. If Rocky talks about this, it's consistent. If Bridget talks about it, it's consistent. Same for David and for Danny. So your goal should not just be to create content, it's to create relevance and to create impact all the time. And most times we kind of ignore it because we think that, yeah, it's cool, go on Fiverr, buy someone online, do this and that. Eventually you can get hurt because you've spent money, you've spent time, now you're not ranking, now all the posts you put on social media are all obsolete, they're all inactive, they're all dormant, and now you wonder why you're not getting traffic or getting sales or getting any type of leads. It's because of the structure, the foundation. That's why I asked this question: do you have a brand? Most people will say yes. Does Google know your brand? Most people may not say yes, because there are 1.1 billion people in the world who have websites, because there are 1.1 billion websites, and we're about 8.2 billion people in the world based on Worldometer, right? I believe it's .info. And if you look at where you are today and where you could be in the next year by just focusing on these major things, then you'll be so far ahead and you won't have to worry about financial constraints because of how you position yourself today. So that's a great point, Rocky. Thank you for mentioning that. Maria, welcome to the room. What's up, Rocky? You want to say something before we go to Maria?
Yeah, I just wanted to add one thing. When you think about Google and your branding, a lot of people say, especially in these clubhouse streets, they say they're one thing or another. The first place I go is Google. If I Google you and I cannot find you, you are irrelevant, especially when it comes to me spending my money. So that's something to think about as to why it's important as well.
100%. Thank you for that, Rocky. Maria, happy Friday. We'd love to hear from you. And what are your thoughts on the conversation? Good morning or good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Favor. Hi. I actually had to come on up because I was like, that's exactly what I've been doing. I was spending a lot of my time for the last 2 years building my social media content. And it's like you just said, stagnant, dormant, very frustrating. So I want to just be a testament to say that, I think I just put out my 4th or 5th blog last night. And I honestly, the only content I want to make is blogs and then push people towards that from social media. Like, hey, you guys know me on social media. If you want to talk to me, I'm over here on my blog. Or at least think of how, when I put my time and effort into something, what is the ROI on that piece of content, and how long can it last? That's how I'm thinking now. I'm like, okay, so I'm gonna put this. So right now, I was like, okay, I'm gonna take the questions from the Facebook group members that I just had a flurry of them come in, and I'm going to make blogs to answer those questions instead of going into the group and answering them. And so I'm super excited. I love this conversation. I love that we get to hear you speak to this. I've been listening to you, Favor, for what, 2 weeks? Started the blog. I've been cleaning up my SEO and stuff, and I'm very grateful, and I'm a testament to, when you do the work behind the scenes, you can, even if you're on Google, because I've been on Google for 5 years, but I had some things that were like missing, like something so simple as a sitemap. So or I was using Google Sites. So just, I would say, apply what you're listening to in here a little bit, and for sure, like, sorry, Gloria's singing. Excuse her, actually, not sorry about it, but you're welcome. She sang a little song for you too. But yeah, I would say definitely think about long, not just long form. I think so much of marketing, you think short form, long form. Think long term. Long term, how long is this piece of content going to be useful to me? And for right now, as I like build out these blogs, I'm like, oh my gosh, it's going to be forever useful. There's organized, it's not lost in a social media thread, and it's answering questions. It's not just pictures and selling, just selling, but it is selling too. So I'm excited. Thank you.
Thank you, Maria. Great points there. Yeah, I usually look at social media and I'm like, why are we spending so much time on social media and not doing the work behind the scenes, which is on our website? And yet we're paying for these domains, we're paying for this hostings, we're paying for this, paying for that, paying for this, paying for that. And yet we're not getting the results that we're looking for. And then we ask ourselves what the problem is when we realize that it's literally in plain sight, that we're not actually utilizing what we have. If you look at your website, for those who are hearing this, ask yourself, when was the last time you published something new for the first time? And if that answer is giving you crickets, we need to reevaluate that system, because your website will become obsolete. Like, we've seen this over and over and over again. Dave is laughing. We've seen this over and over again. There's a client that we worked with, and now they're doing so well because they were literally going at a Titanic tank. Like, they had 1 million impressions and they were dropping down to thousands of impressions. And they were like, what's going on? I told them this and this. Literally, it took about 3 months to fix it. And now they're skyrocketing. Now they have, when we started with them, they had less than 1,000 pages ranking. Now they have 2.5K pages ranking, and we still have another 2.5 to go. So that's about 5K pages that we need to push, and it's going to take time. And I always tell them, don't wait for the rain to come and pour down when things are not ready for you and you're not able to create the buckets. So creating that thing is so important, because Google does not know you until your web pages are actually accessible on the net. Their sitemap was off, their robots was off, their schema was off. They had terrible things going on, and they didn't know what was going on, to the point where even their pages were loading for about 5 seconds. And that is a bad thing, because if your pages load for 5 seconds, somebody has 5 seconds to spend with you, and that 5 seconds is being spent on loading. That means they have 10 seconds to spend with you, which they don't have, because you've wasted those 5 on loading. So the goal is to give people their time back, do something that is actually connecting them back to the source. And that way they're able to not worry about, are you online? Are you showing up? Are you visible? Are you credible? Those things will happen on its own. And the moment you're able to realize that earlier, the faster your website can actually pick up on the speed. So how do you want to know that? Go to Google Learn About, or go to your website and then find your domain, and then go to google.com, put in your domain.com, hit enter. And the number of pages, this is how you're going to know. The number of pages that pops up at the bottom when you look at the pagination, that's how you're able to know whether Google has record of your site or not. So if you go to that site, your domain.com or whatever your domain is, and then you hit enter, right? This is on Google, so you can do this for free. When you hit enter, it's going to show you all the pages that your website is actually listed on. It will tell you, okay, you have 10 pages, you have 100 pages, you have 1,000 pages, right? And if you don't see that Google at the bottom, you know how it says Google with the blue, the yellow, the red, the green, and the red again, and with the blue in between? That O, that Google, right? Those O's that they have in between are the paginations, right? Because if you counted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, right? For me, it shows 10 pages. That means I have 100 pages at least that Google is aware of, right? Because that yellow is going to be pulling up. If there's more than that, you're going to see more O's. It's crazy, but try this out for yourselves and see it. And when you realize that you have a lot of yellow O's inside Google, then that will tell you that you actually have content that is being seen, that is being ranked, that is also being applied to the search engine. So those are the 2 ways to find out. And I wanted to bring this out to you guys today. Does anyone have a question, thought, comment before we wrap up?
Can
It's a
you say
Friday.
that website one more time, that URL?
So you go to site, just type in the word, go to google.com and then type in the word site, colon, now your domain.com. So replace domain.com with your domain and then hit enter. When you do that, it's going to allow you to have that result. So I put it in the chat. So just copy what I've put, paste it, and replace domain.com with your name or your business domain name, and then hit enter on Google and then scroll all the way down. And then if you don't see any page 1, 2, 3, 4, then just know that it's thin. If you see more than that, then you see more. We've seen clients that have up to 30 pages, 50 pages. That means they have 300 pages, 500 pages on Google, and that keeps going up and up. We've worked with clients that have close to about 20 million pages on their site because they have close to about 900 sitemaps, and each sitemap is about 50,000 URLs. How are you going to track that? That's a lot of pages to track. So when we're looking at these things on a large scale from a 30,000 viewpoint down to the bare minimum, we want to make sure that you're also being seen and you're also being heard, you're being remembered. So that's how you're able to do it, Maria. You're welcome. Any questions, any thoughts, final takeaways? Bridget, Rocky, David, Danny, Maria, anyone in the chat, tossing the mic up. Clear. So this has been helpful, and thank you so much for your input. This has been very exciting. I always love to learn from you and also hear what's going on in your world, as well as understanding how these things work. You know, we have brands all day, but we also need to know how to improve on our branding. And if you'd like more information like this, if you want to connect with me offline, the best way to reach out to me is by clicking on the link at the top and booking a call with me. You can save this link. You can add it to your browser, add it to your bookmark, and you can save this link. And then all the links in there will have access to me, whether you want to reach out to me on LinkedIn, you know, come to our newsletter, connect with us there, or book a call directly with me so we can actually get your work started. We can definitely do that for you too. So Google has to know your brand, and if Google knows your brand well, then you will definitely be in good hands, because when you take care of your website takes care of you. Just like you take care of your car takes care of you. Just like you take care of your body takes care of you. So these are things that we have to do. We have to give. We can't receive if we can't give first, right? And we can't give what we don't have. If your website doesn't have links, then how do you give links to people that don't receive them? Yeah, it's gonna be a hot mess, and we don't want that. So thank you all so much for being here. Appreciate you, Maria, Danny, Jasmine, for the love. Thank you, Bridget, as well. Appreciate you for being here. Rocky, David, Jasmine, Aline, Big G, Mitchell, Jessica, Darren, DV, Mitra, Wiles, Brandon, and Non. I also see the chat. Jasmine says this room was awesome. Thank you. You are welcome. Thank you for being here. And also David.com says, David says, thanks, nice being here. Please let me know when you're back in a room. Yes. How you can also know I'm in a room is this way too. When you click on my face on Clubhouse, and I'm also saying this for the replay, when you click on my face on Clubhouse, or anybody's face you want to listen to, or anybody's profile, hit my face, and then to the right, you're going to see 3 dots. When you see those 3 dots, you look for notification settings. That's the second option on the list. And then turn it to always, because by default, it's set to sometimes. So if you turn it to always, thank you, David. I see you said done. So anytime I'm speaking and I'm talking, I'm on Clubhouse, whether I'm in the marketing club or I'm in Breakfast with Champions or I'm in the business and marketing house, you know, which is shout out to you, Rocky. That's Rocky's house. Any houses I'm in here on Clubhouse, that's how you're able to find me and connect with me. So I do rooms like this consistently. And if you ever have a question or contribution or anything, reach out to me. I'll send you an audit and we get started, because the audit is not just for you to look at, it's for us to actually take action on. And if you can take it on by yourself, great. But if you need help to get it taken through so you can save time, save money, and save energy that will cost you in the long run if things are changing you're not aware of, then we can get on a call and talk about it and handle it within 4 weeks, within 12 weeks, within 24 weeks. It's up to you. And definitely the ball is in your court. But until then, thank you all for listening. Thank you all for being here. I appreciate each and every one of you. Have a great weekend. Enjoy yourselves. Stay safe, stay hydrated, stay blessed. And I'll see you guys in the next episode.
Thank you, Favor.
You're welcome. Welcome to season 13, where you listen, you live, you learn, and you earn. A lot of information is always given on this show. So, we're in the 13th season. God has brought us so far, and I just want to thank God for the opportunity to connect with you today on such quiet, calm space like this. So thank you for listening. Know that Jesus loves you, and know that you can always connect with me on the We Don't Play Podcast show. More specifically, go to WeDon'tPlayPodcast.com, or you can go to playinc.online. That is PLAYINC.online, and get in touch with me. Let's get on a call. Let's talk. Let's focus on SEO for 2026 and beyond. So until we meet in the next episode, God bless you. Jesus loves you. Stay hydrated, stay safe, and stay blessed, and stay tuned. Bye for now.